People that spend their time with you, it's the most valuable currency that they have, and it's a currency you cannot get more of. So they're taking the time that they could be spending doing literally anything else, and they're taking the time to come spend it in your stream. So just value time and realize, like, there's the days where it's really easy to look at your numbers and, like, let's say you had a good week and you were at 15 average viewers, and then all of a sudden the next week you're at 4. It's really easy to look at that number and get very discouraged, but remember that that is 4 people that could literally be spending time doing anything else, time that they cannot get back, and they're choosing to spend that time with
you. What's up, guys? This is GreenChord, and I just want to take a second to talk to you guys directly because this is the 100th episode of Stream Key, which blows my freaking mind. Guys, this is insane. I never really expected the show would get to this point, and it's a huge milestone in my mind. I just want to thank each and every one of you for supporting the show and listening to it. It means so much to me and all of us here at TRUgaming. The show really took off in ways that I could not have imagined, so thank you guys for helping make this possible. Love seeing the support. We've reached over 60,000 downloads. Quite a bit of a community on Twitter and Discord now, and it seems like it's really helping a lot of people, which is the goal at the end of the day. I'm so happy to hear that this podcast has helped you guys, and I hope that we can continue doing that moving forward. So I just want to thank you guys for that. Please, if you've still somehow not managed to join our community, please join up with us on Discord or Twitter, or even just email me with any questions, thoughts, concerns about the podcast. We're making some efforts with the next few months or so to kind of ramp up the podcast even more, getting some new rebranding out there, gonna have some new YouTube highlights of clips of the podcast, so lots of ideas, but I'm always looking for more, so please let me know what you guys have. And yeah, just thank you so much for making this dream possible, guys. It means so much to me. Lastly, I just want to say for this episode in particular, this one was recorded live from Playthrough, which is a gaming conference here in Raleigh. So you'll hear some stage echo, and also there was a little bit of an issue in the start with some music overplaying, so it kind of jumps into the panel with me introducing MsHoboslayer. The guests are Velok, mshoboslayer, SnoopHogTV, and xCatScratchx, who's from Twitch Raleigh. So just really quickly, I want to give you that heads up. It kind of jumps right in the show. So with that said, please enjoy this, guys, and please remember to join our community. Come say hi. Love to meet you. Please keep supporting the show.
Hobo.
Okay, I'm mshoboslayer. mshoboslayer. And I've been sponsored with True for almost 2 years. This summer will be 2 years. And I'm a variety streamer. I play a little bit of everything, and I'm a Twitch partner.
Yeah, very new Twitch partner. Super excited about that. Moving down, Snoop there.
Hi, I'm SnoopHogTV. I'm not going to spell my name because it's pretty straightforward. But I don't have a check mark. But I've been a True partnered streamer for a little over 6 months. I feel like maybe 9. It's shy of a year, but I variety stream. I actually recently moved over from Twitch to Mixer. So there's that part of the conversation that I'm sure will happen today. But I'm on the blue platform now.
Sure. And last but not least, we have Kat joining us from Twitch Raleigh.
Yes, I'm xCatScratchx on Twitch. I'm not partnered yet. It's a goal. I stream horror games because I like to be terrified. And it's usually more entertaining to watch me scream on stream. So if you like that, ayo. But I've been streaming for about 2 years now. So 2
Right.
years.
Awesome. So you have a big range of different experience levels with Twitch and Mixer, other platforms and things. Hopefully it's really helpful for you guys, no matter where you're coming from. If you're brand new, if you have a lot of experience, the hope is this will be helpful. So the first half an hour to 40 minutes of this panel, we'll be doing kind of my questions for the panel, and then we'll transition to be you guys can ask questions here at the show floor and online. There's a mic up here in front, so I'll let you know when that hits. And if you have your own questions that we haven't covered, feel free to come up and ask them. Yeah. So to start off, I want to kind of go back to the panel. And since this is kind of a Streaming 101 panel, it's really about getting started streaming for a lot of people. I want to go through and ask you guys how you got started streaming, kind of why you did it, what that process was like, and just sharing some tips for other people getting into it for the first time. Val, you want to start?
Yeah, so before I started streaming on Twitch, I was a third shift manager at an IHOP. So life was great. Had a lot of social interaction. It was really cool. And so I had a lot of free time when I got home from work, and I started watching Tim the Tap Man. I was like, that's a cool dude. He likes the games that I like, and so why not try it out? And that's essentially how I like at least started streaming on Twitch, was just having a lot of free time and no social interaction at all.
Right.
It was great.
So just kind of doing it in your hobby in your free time to start with.
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool. Amy, I'm gonna call you Amy because I just feel so weird saying mshoboslayer.
It's a
every
little
time.
easier. It's a little shorter.
What made you want to get started streaming, and what was that process like?
Well, I started streaming RuneScape on a laptop, and it was just kind of one of those things. Like when I discovered Twitch, I was like, man, I mean, I'm playing this game, so why not stream it? And like, I used to be like super shy, and I'm still kind of awkward and have kind of weird anxiety about stuff. And I'm like, this will be a really neat way for me to kind of get out of that and sort of interact with people a little better. And I think at the time, I was working at retail in a pet store, so I was trying to really break out of that shell of being so like socially awkward and try to force myself to get out of my comfort zone a little bit, because Twitch is a really great way to talk to people and meet new people that you normally never would. So
Right. Yeah, that's a really cool thing I want to come back to in a bit, because that comes up a lot with people we talk to. But Snoop, moving down the line here, what kind of got you started streaming, man?
Yeah, so I was playing PUBG of all games, and I had watched Twitch for years. I mean, guys like Tim the Tatman, Summit 1G, all that kind of stuff. And I decided that I was like, oh, I really enjoy playing PUBG. And a buddy of mine was like, oh, you should stream it so I can catch some of it. So I literally streamed. And if you go back way, way back on my Twitch like clips, you can see the streams of me just sitting there not speaking to anyone. And it was really awkward. And then you get the first 1 or 2 people in there, and then I just kind of fell in love with the interaction of being able to hang out and talk with people. And people apparently found it funny. I still don't understand why. On a regular basis, I say I don't get why I get viewers, but it works.
Why are you here?
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Last but not least, Kat, what made you want to get started streaming?
So since I do the horror games thing, my friend was watching me play a horror game one day, and she was like, you would be really entertaining on Twitch, because I am terrified of horror things. I don't really like horror and jump scares, but like I love horror video games too at the same time. I don't know. And so I tried it out, and a few of my friends just came and were just like, oh, this is hilarious. And then I just kept doing it, and now here I am, still doing it. Still crying on stream because it's terrifying.
Horror games are great because viewers love them and streamers hate them. So
Yes,
if
that's
you want to see
basically
people watch you, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Horror games. I want to circle back to something that Amy kind of hit on, which is nerves, which I think is a big factor for a lot of people, especially with streaming, but also making YouTube content. For a lot of people, it can be nervous to get in front of a camera or a microphone and hear the sound of your own voice, see yourself on there, have people watching you. So did you guys deal with that when you started, and kind of how did you get through that process? Maybe starting with Vel.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of deals with nerves at some point when they first start streaming. It's just one of those things that gets a little bit easier over time, but I mean, I think it still always kind of lingers though. Like there's still some days where it's just like, man, I really don't know how this is gonna go. So what, like, you don't know if you're gonna hit the go live button or not that day, and so it's just something you have to do. Repetition makes it easier for sure.
Yeah, over time, just making yourself do it
absolutely
easier. Sure, Amy, you talked a little about this already, but
yeah, even now, this summer will be 5 years since I've started streaming. So even still, there's some days that I get really anxious about it and just get really, really nervous. But the best way to think about it is there's always going to be somebody who understands, because I'm really open about I have anxiety about stuff and I get really nervous, and a lot of times you'll find your viewers are you know what, me too. So you can kind of bond, and you can just straight up be I'm feeling kind of weird today, I'm feeling a little nervous, and they're like, you know what, we got you, because we feel like that too. So it's okay to be a little weird. It's okay to be a little nervous, because a lot of times there are people out there that are exactly like you, so you don't have to feel bad about it. It's nothing to be embarrassed or try to hide it. Being genuine, people appreciate a lot more, instead of trying to fake things and trying to be somebody you're not. So just be honest about it. People are super understanding.
Mm-hmm. That's one great thing about live streaming is it's much less produced than something like YouTube.
Oh yeah.
So if you mess up or if you're not super professional or polished, that's okay. That's part of the experience. So usually viewers will understand a lot of that.
Oh yeah.
Snoop, what do you have for advice for nerves when you're starting out streaming?
Yeah, I mean, like I said in the beginning of my stuff, you go back, some of it is really, really awkward. And what I found was I really started to shine when stuff broke and didn't work, which is a regular basis, because if you make light of it and remember that, you know, you're streaming, at the end of the day, if your stream doesn't go well, you can end your stream and start all over again tomorrow. It's not like somebody can walk in and fire you because your stream was bad that day, you know, because your internet dropped or because you said something ridiculous. I mean, obviously, if you get banned, that doesn't work. But, you know, for the most part, you can't really screw up so bad that you can't come back from it. And once you kind of get in that mindset and relax about it a little more, it just makes it easier to go live every day. You know, now I kind of hope things break because it gives me content value when I don't have any.
Yeah, that's actually a cool part, though. Like, sometimes the things that you think are the biggest mess ups on your stream are the things that viewers love the most. So don't be too afraid to mess up sometimes. Absolutely. So, Kat, finishing up here, any thoughts on nerves when you're starting out streaming?
So I was super awkward when I first started because the thought of just like talking to no one, like, I mean, you're talking to people online, but you're sitting in a room by yourself and talking to a camera. So really, you're just, and my roommate was like, "Are you talking to yourself?" When I first started, and I was like, "No, I'm streaming." She's like, "Oh, am I on your stream?" And then she'd be like, "Hello." And I'm like, yes. So it's a little bit awkward, I think, at first, but like once you get people in your chat that like really interact with you, it's really like talking to people that are there with you and playing the game and enjoying the game with you. And it definitely is for me. Like I also have like social anxiety, and it's definitely helps like as a like therapeutic thing to like talk and do live streaming because it helps me get more confident in talking to people and interacting with people.
Sure. Awesome. So once you've gotten the nerves down, then you can start to look at kind of what gear you need to get started. So I'm just curious with you guys, when you're starting out, or maybe advice you have for others, like what are the bare essentials you need to start your stream? Vel, what do you think?
So like basically I got like a Blue Yeti microphone just because I knew audio was something that was kind of important. I didn't want to use like a headset mic. Nothing crazy, but it was really easy to set up. And for the price of Blue Yeti mic, I think everybody understands that it's a pretty good value. And then I just got like some crappy Logitech camera. And then I had a really crappy computer, but I was streaming CSGO at the time. Shout out to CSGO fans. But yeah, so it's not too resource intensive on a computer. And so, yeah, I just made do with what I had.
Sure. What software did you use when you started out for streaming or
It was
anything
OBS.
else? Okay.
Yeah.
You still use OBS?
Yeah, I've switched back and forth, but now I'm back on OBS. Shout out to OBS fans.
The best thing out there, guys. Amy, when you started out, what gear and software did you start out with, or do you have tips for anybody else starting out?
Okay, so like I said earlier, I started on a laptop. So, you know, I've came a long way because I have like a built desktop now. But the thing that I always try to stress to new streamers, especially like when you get into it, don't spend like a ton of money because you might like, you know, get all this expensive stuff and then do it for a month or two and decide like, you know, this really isn't for me because, you know, streaming really isn't for everyone because, you know, you think you might like it and once you get into it, you might decide like, well, I really don't enjoy this as much, you know, as I thought I would. And now, you know, you can resell that stuff, but you're never going to get like the full value of what you bought it for. So kind of like Bill said, you know, get what you need, but don't go overboard. And then after you see that you enjoy it, you know, then start to sink a little bit more money into it, especially once you start to make a little bit more of an income with it. I mean, ultimately it's up to you what you want to do. I mean, a lot of stuff like you could use just for gaming, and that's fine. But, you know, things like super crazy like DSLR camera or something, unless you're like a photographer that likes to take pictures. If you're buying like something like that just for streaming, you know, if you don't like it, you're going to have this expensive camera that you're never going to use to take pictures with. I mean, a Logitech webcam like the C920 you can find on Amazon on sale for like $40, and that's like probably the best webcam you can get for the money. I mean, I use it, you know, and like he said, the Blue Yeti, the Blue Snowball. I mean, a lot of people use those and they're just fine. Like once you know, get into a higher level with it, you know, that's fine. But like starting out, like definitely don't spend a ton of money. And like software wise, I really like OBS Studio. Streamlabs OBS is really nice, especially for like beginning streamers. If you don't really know how to adjust your settings and stuff, a lot of that stuff is like auto, like it'll kind of, you know, work with like your hardware and your internet and stuff and kind of auto set stuff up. But they're like, it's okay, but I'm so used to OBS Studio at this point, so I just continue to use that, and it's still kind of in development, so there's some things about it that are that I do that it might not support or it might be kind of weird about. So I personally don't use it, but I do a lot of things that like newer streamers probably wouldn't want to mess with. But especially for like newer streamers, Streamlabs OBS is pretty nice.
Sure. Awesome. Snoop, what's your thought on gear and software starting out?
Stream with whatever you have. I mean, you can go live from your PlayStation, you can go live from your Xbox. Your headset 90% of the time has a microphone that, to be honest with you, will work just as good in the beginning. It's all about just putting content out first. You can literally go live from your cell phone now if you really, really wanted to. I've watched people stream video games from their cell phones because their internet connection wasn't good enough to connect with whatever PC or Xbox or whatever it was. So as long as you're pushing that kind of content, and then obviously down the road, you know, I feel personally attacked about the DSLR comment, but we're going to move on.
I'm sorry.
But I mean, honestly, that was something I upgraded well after I had started and established and, you know, stuff like that. It's not something you need when you start. I mean, we talked about Tim the Tapman, but only until recently he was using a C920 and he's one of the biggest people on Twitch. So, you know, it's the standard and it's a cheap option for a webcam, but there's a lot of people that don't even use webcams that are successful just because they went live. I mean, Lyric has been streaming for 6 years, and I don't think I've ever seen him on a webcam. So it's just your equipment doesn't dictate you going live. It's all about your content, and people will be there and people will follow. And as the more you gather a following, the more obviously you make some kind of an income with it. If you put it back into the stream and that's the route you choose to go, then it's not a bad option. Plus, especially with OBS, the reason I love OBS is that you can make even a $30 microphone sound like it's professional with all the filters if you do everything right. So your options are so unlimited, and like even in comparison to when I started, Streamlabs OBS now, I wish that was something that was around when I started because it makes it going live as simple as logging in with your Twitch account and literally hitting go live. It does everything, including overlays for you, which is incredible, and it's something that was not around when I started. So, I mean, I'm an OBS studio now because it's all I've ever used, and to be honest, there's so many, like you were saying, there's so many features that are not compatible with Streamlabs OBS yet that we use, or that at least I use. So going forward, who knows? But either way, you can download. This is all open source software. It's all free. It costs you nothing to go live on Twitch.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I love the idea of using what you have because a lot of us probably have more than you think to be able to start streaming, whether it's just a console or some old webcams or something. They work for starting out for sure. I also want to quickly mention, if you guys are in the audience and you're hearing these terms like OBS, Streamlabs OBS, and you're like, what the heck is that? If you have any questions, we can explain all that at our booth at Choose Streaming. Just come find us. We'll explain like what that means, how to figure that stuff out. It's all free software, by the way. Last but not least, Kat, do you have any thoughts on gear and software starting?
So I talked to a friend that I knew streamed a lot, and I was like, what do you need? Like, what's basic startup? And they said, Logitech webcam, Blue Yeti mic. And I was like, well, Blue Yeti mic's a little out of my price range right now, but I can afford the Logitech webcam. And I have it's not the best mic quality, but everybody can hear me just fine, and that's really all that matters. So I just have my headset that has the mic on it. I also use OBS. I feel like I've dabbled in all the different ones when I first started that you can use for streaming. And for me, it was the most user-friendly and the easiest for me to understand because my friend helped me build my PC. Honestly, I can't tell you I know the hardware because of my little specky thing. I can look at that, my screenshot of it. But I'm not super well versed in the hardware aspects. So having something that was user-friendly that I could understand and still be able to use without much issue as far as getting it set up was really nice. So.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, so just across the board, it's a lot of using resources you have or have people help you with things you don't understand, basically. Cool. So you've got your gear. You figured out how to deal with the nerves starting out. You've been streaming, but no one's watching. This is probably the most common question that I get for everybody, especially with big saturated platforms like Twitch and YouTube. I'm streaming, but that number's always zero. Nobody's coming out. How do I get my first few viewers when I'm starting out on Twitch or wherever I'm streaming? Vel?
So when I was trying to start getting viewers and everything like that, I found another CS:GO streamer and just became friends with that person, hung out on their channel, and I didn't talk about me being a streamer or anything like that because that's like the first thing you don't do is like you don't say, hey, come check me out. Like You're not trying to do that. So I just made some more friends in that channel, and they wanted to stop by and support me and see what I was all about. And that's essentially how I started growing my channel. It's just those couple of viewers from another friend's channel. And so I mean, just really simple. Just go make friends, go be nice to people and hang out. And if they like you back and want to be your friend, they'll come and support you. That's pretty much how it works. Super simple and super genuine. Just not really too much to it.
Is there anything that you think you did, or like looking back, you'd see kind of getting people to stick around when they come out, just to make you want to come back and watch you again?
Being super hype, super energetic, and especially when they're there to support you, like especially that first like couple people that are there, like they're the only person there or the only people that are there. So like you need to treat them like gold, because like if the ones they're gone, good luck. You know what I mean? Like keep the viewers that you have and just try to enjoy the essentially family that you're creating in your channel. That's what it is, especially when it's that tight knit and so low of a view count. It's the start of your family for sure.
Awesome. So just bring as much energy, make an awesome first impression to people.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Amy, when you're starting out, how do you get people to stick around and watch you?
I mean, pretty much a lot of like what Velok said. I mean, make friends. It's really hard if you think that you're just going to get on there and not socialize and network with people and like, I'm going to be ninja in 2 days, just by doing this. And like Green said, saturated games, it's really super hard to grow like Fortnite. I mean, I know it's kind of like died down a little bit with like Apex Legends, but if you're like, I'm gonna play, Apex Legends or whatever, super new, super, popular game right now, and you expect, like, especially if you're a brand new streamer and you expect that you're gonna have like 300 viewers in the first day because, well, everybody's watching it, everybody's streaming it. It not necessarily the case. You have to kind of play it smart. There's a website called Solinome that's really good about stats. I'm not saying that you can't play the games that you want, but you can't play like a super saturated game and expect to get like a ton of viewers, especially if you're really new. Like you have to be willing to do some research and find that happy medium of doing research for the directories and like, well, this game's like really super saturated and super popular right now, and I'm really new, so maybe if I play this other game that's maybe not as popular, but it still has a decent following, you'll be a lot more likely to have people come in and find you, because when you're first starting out, 0 to 3 viewers or whatever, I mean, you can get like your friends to come watch you. So I mean, it's not too hard to get like a few people to watch you if you have friends, but like, keep in mind, if you stream something like Apex Legends and you're just starting out, you're going to be at like the very bottom of the list. And like, there are a lot of people like myself personally, when I go and watch new streamers, I watch a few, bigger streamers, but I like to go and find like the smaller people, because I know what it feels like, to be like that little guy that doesn't have anybody to talk to, and how lonely it can be to have a dead chat. So I like to, go through and try to find somebody like that just to kind of give them somebody to talk to. But, if there's like rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of people like that, it's going to be really hard to be found. And again, it's not saying that you can't do that, but if you do that, you can't really be upset and question like, why is nobody watching me? Just be mindful of the fact there's everybody else that's streaming it, so you're going to make yourself like so difficult to find, needle in a haystack. So just, think about stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, set expectations based on what you're going to be streaming, right? Because depending on what game you play, what platform you're on, the rates of growth will be different, and you're going to have to work harder probably in more saturated games.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. Snoop, when you're starting out streaming, how do you get people to watch you?
I mean, it is a grind in the beginning. It always is. But, like you both touched on good points. Networking is key. Knowing what categories you're in and strategically trying to place yourself somewhere where you have more likelihood to get noticed just by generic clicks. But a lot of the time, to get to that point, you need to network and within other communities, or, I'm obviously partnered with Tru now, but at the time when I started, I stumbled upon Tru, and it was a bunch of very like-minded people in the group and in the Discord that were all very, adamant about starting streaming, but it was none of the, I can tell you that the follow for follow stuff, the support for support, all that kind of stuff, it's an easy draw and it looks good on paper, and it's, I can get 100 followers tomorrow. but you have 100 followers and there's nobody in your chat, then your day hasn't changed much other than your follow number. And it doesn't garner viewership. But once you become part of those communities, then first impression's key. And I say it all the time. You have 15 seconds to figure out how to impress this person to get them to stick around, because somebody's going to click your stream open and they're going to watch for 15 seconds and go, he's not really doing anything. And you're not even going to know that they're there. You have to be able to have a self-dialogue. You have to essentially be able to talk to yourself. And even if it's just narrating what you're doing, or making fun of the fact that, I'm fat and I can't jump up this rock ledge in this video game. Now, it has nothing to do with me being fat personally sitting in the chair, but it adds for somebody's going to hear it and laugh. And they're going to think it's funny. And there could be nobody in there. And now I'm in a room by myself calling myself fat. And now everybody's worried about self-deprecation. But that's not it. I promise.
That escalated.
But you have to be able to have a monologue, because you're going to spend a good amount of time without people in there. And if people come in and you're just staring, if you all walked in here and Ben asked me that question and I just sat and stared at you and didn't say a word, people would eventually be like, why am I watching this? Because I'm getting nothing out of it. And that's the same thing when people come into your stream. If you're not engaging even by yourself, what makes me think you're going to be engaging once I'm in here to talk to you? And everybody says, oh, it's easier to have that banter with someone. Absolutely. Of course it is. It's always easier when you have somebody to talk to. But I can tell you the other thing that's a caveat, because yes, you have 1 or 2 viewers that you're constantly conversing with. Now, newer people start to flow in and you're in the middle of a conversation. They have no idea what's going on. So now you're in that position of you have to be able to bide your time, and you have to be entertaining for the most part and balance the interaction with viewership all at the same time. And it's stuff, obviously, you learn over time and you never perfect, because I get it wrong 3/4 of the time. But you have to be able to engage people as soon as they get there, but you have to get the people in there, and finding communities outside of just Twitch channels really helps. TRUgaming is one of them, and there's plenty out there that offer, community groups of like, oh, I play a lot of R6, so there's a group of people that play R6, and a lot of them might not stream, and just because you play with them all the time, they're going to turn on your stream and be like, oh, this guy's pretty cool, I play with him all the time, let me go see what his stream's all about. And then he might tell somebody, and it's just a snowball effect. But it's getting past that initial hump of it being just you. But if you can monologue and you can talk to yourself, and you can tune out the fact that sometimes you drive yourself nuts, then you can actually move through that, and that is what will keep people once you get them to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. Just keeping stuff in the audio. Keep talking. That's such a big skill. And you can hear these guys talking up here. Very good at speaking now for long amounts of time. That's a good thing. Seriously. You can tell the amount they can just go into a topic like that. That's the skill that comes out of streaming. So, Kat, any thoughts on when you're starting out, how to keep people to watch you?
I just want to kind of go back to the follow for follow thing, because I feel like it is very easy to get sucked into that and then start trying to rely on that. So admittedly, when I first started, I was like, I need to get this many followers. I need all this stuff. And if I do these follow for follows, then people will come and it'll be great. And everybody that follows me will always be at my streams and I will have all these viewers. And that is not the case at all. So after I kind of sat back because I was unhappy with how my stream was going, I was like, okay, what can I change? So I had a few people that would constantly come in, which was nice because I always had people there. But sometimes for a long time, I didn't have really any viewers. And so I went to talking to myself. And then people, if they asked me about streaming, I'd be like, oh, you can go look at my VODs and stuff like that. And then they would just see me just talking to myself and they're like, oh, that's pretty funny. And I do cosplay as well. So I started posting. I was like, well, you know what? I'll just post it on my page because I had like a few hundred people on my page. And I was like, maybe people will come in. And then I started making friends and actually networking and working towards actually getting quality viewers and quality followers instead of just getting those numbers. Because honestly, you can have 1,000 followers. And normally, if you go to these streams, that even the people that have like thousands and thousands of followers, their viewership is maybe like 1,000 if they have 50,000 followers, like on average. So really, you have to really take the time and care to make sure that you're appreciating the followers or the viewers, that you do have. And that's what I started doing is whenever someone came to visit, I would always be like, hey, and I would like just ask them how they were. And I have a pretty good memory, which sometimes makes it awkward because people don't remember me when we meet and stuff. But I have a pretty good memory. So if I recognize someone, I'm like, oh, like player 123, we talked about this last time and how you had like a job interview. How did that go? Like, I take the time to try and remember each person and appreciate each person that actually interacts with me. And honestly, that really helps because I've had people bring their friends in and then now they're viewers and they're always at my streams. So it's really just appreciating the viewers you do have and trying not to focus too much on the numbers, because once you start just appreciating what you have and not focusing on the number aspect, it grows on its own.
Sure. Yeah, that's a really good point. Let's go into that for a sec because like you guys all said, it's really easy to get sucked into the follower number as kind of like your measure of success when you're starting. And that's a big factor. And then over time, you kind of realize that's not as important as other things. So in each of your opinions, kind of what are the most important things to look at when you're judging the success of your stream, kind of your progress? What do you personally look at to say, okay, I'm either, I'm growing or I'm kind of plateauing and stuck right now? What would you say, Belle?
Honestly, I think it's a little bit of a combination of everything. Like, there's no one number that really matters more than other ones. Aside, I guess, like the one that matters the most, I guess, is the view count. If you think about it, like, does it mean that you're not as good of a streamer if your view count is lower? No, but I mean, your view count is obviously more important than your follower count because followers don't always show up to your channel. Your subscribers don't really like. That's a really cool number to have if you have high subs, but it doesn't mean that they're there in your channel supporting you. You know what I mean? Like they might sub, but they might never show up to the actual stream. So honestly, the one number that I can think of is just view count. But really, you need to look at the quality of your stream above everything, and just like working on the just entertainment value of your stream in general is the most important thing you can focus on as a streamer.
Sure.
Like Kat was just saying, if you focus on the right things, everything else will just fall into place.
So like, how do you critique yourself? What do you look for when you're trying to make sure you keep improving?
Well, I know some people have done things where like they'll keep a timer and they'll see like have 15 seconds gone by and I haven't said anything. Well, that's way too long. You know what I mean? So just like kind of like I have like a mental timer, I guess, where like you try to say something as much as possible, whether it's useful or not, like whether or not, like as long as you're saying something, especially when you're first starting out, it's so huge. So I mean, and then you just try to work on trying to make the things that you are saying maybe more entertaining somehow. Like if you're trying to be funny, try to work on your reactions to certain things that happen in video games, because there's so many things that you can react to, and if you don't necessarily know how to make things entertaining or humorous, it can be beneficial to learn those kind of things.
Gotcha. Love it. Amy, kind of what are the most important things for you when you're looking to make sure that your stream is constantly improving and you keep growing?
Absolutely. If I'm not trying to grow, like, why am I doing it?
Yeah. Amy, what do you look out in your stream when you're trying to make sure that you are still improving, and what kind of matters to you?
Right, and like kind of going back to like the follower thing, like your follower number is always going to be like way higher than your viewer number, and like some people get like really bummed out about that, like, oh, I have all these followers but I only have these many viewers. Like that's something like, don't even pay attention to your follower number. Like I know like for affiliate, that's kind of like well, I really need those followers to hit that, but besides that, don't really worry about it, because there's going to be so many people who will stop in, follow you and never come back. I know it's kind of hard not to feel bummed out about that, and I mean, I personally have like felt like that, like, well, this person followed me and they never came back, like what's wrong with me? Like they followed me, so why wouldn't they come back? Some people are just like that. I don't get it, but I mean, it doesn't really matter, and it took a while for me to really realize that. And like I said, like when you're first starting out, it's really, really hard not to pay attention to like all the number stuff. Like you'll constantly be like checking your, like your average viewers and your follower numbers and all this stuff, and like subs and all the extra things. And it's really, really difficult not to, like, even when you've been doing it for a really long time, because, it's, you learn eventually, like, well, the numbers don't really define me, but I mean, it's Twitch, like a lot of the requirements and stuff, like once you really, once you get to like the trying to push for partnership, like the 75 average viewers and stuff, it's so hard, like once you get really close to that, not to stress and like, wow, I'm like this far away from it, I just got to really keep pushing for it. Like it, I'm not saying not work hard for it, but don't worry about it too much. Like, just be natural with it and, enjoy what you have, and it'll come in time, like when it's supposed to. Like, and for me personally, like what I really measure like for like success for my stream is like the people I really like become friends with, because Twitch is like just this huge like group of friends in my mind. So like when I feel like I've made an impact on someone, I consider that like a really big success story in my mind. Like I'm really super open to people, and like half my streams I'm like playing a game, and then the other half I'm just like goofing off and talking about pet store stories, you know, like just random crap. And like my whole goal is like, if I can make somebody laugh or make somebody's day better, I did okay. You know, that's the big thing. And like when you're genuine with people, that's really gonna touch them, and they'll remember that. I mean, everybody's gonna be different, but you know, everybody just wants friendship. And so if you're genuinely trying to make friends with people, they will know that, instead of you trying to treat them like a number. So just treat people nice, treat people good, you know, treat people the way you want to be treated, and they'll know that. You know, like viewers aren't stupid. You know, a lot of us are viewers too. You know, like how would you feel if you come into a stream and you feel like a streamer is talking to you like, well, you better stay here because I need this many viewers. You know, I'm really trying to, which I'm not saying like you can be open about your goals. Like, you know, hey guys, you know, I really want partnership, or I really want to do this, you know, so this is the goal. I mean, it's not bad, but don't like force that on people. Like, you have to do this, because if you don't, I'm not going to make this. So, you know, just be open and be genuine with people, but treat people like people, not a number, not statistics, you know, because we're all just people.
Right.
So.
Absolutely. Love it. Snoop, what are your thoughts on kind of what matters to you the most when you're looking at the success of your channel?
Yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of it is, like anybody else, Twitch gamifies your numbers in the very beginning. You know, hit this, you'll get affiliate. Hit this, and you hit this achievement. Hit this, you'll get partner. You know, everything is about numbers from day one. And you get sucked into it, especially being new, not knowing any better, not really having the general idea. But one, if you're a viewer first, it makes all the difference in my opinion, because you become part of communities and stuff like that well before you've streamed, and you understand it a little bit more. But even then, it's easy to get sucked in. For me, mostly what I look at now is interaction. So if I'm, you know, sitting at, let's say 10 average viewers or 20 average viewers, and I only have 2 or 3 people that are talking and most people are lurking, then what does my viewer average number matter? Because there's only 2 or 3 people in there that are actually interacting with me. So if I can have a very active, interactive chat where not only are people talking to me, but they're talking amongst themselves, and the chat is almost entertaining itself on top of, you know, hanging out and watching what I'm doing and whatever nonsense is coming out of my mouth. And but that's my way of measuring probably the best way to measure my success at doing what I do on stream. And there's a few different ways and applications and some chat programs that'll keep track of how many messages were sent that stream and stuff like that, and how many different people talked. And those kind of numbers, a lot of the time for me, when they tend to be higher, and those are the numbers I try to pay attention to, because in my opinion, they're the ones that matter. When those numbers tend to be higher, everything kind of goes up across the board. Your average viewership tends to be higher. If your interactions are high and people see that people are interacting not only with the streamer but with each other, then people tend to, you know, flock to that because they want to be a part of whatever's going on, because obviously it's a good time. Obviously it's something worth being a part of. And you know, everything kind of just trickle down effect after that. So your average is going to go up for viewership. Your follower number is going to go up. You know, your sub number may go up if that's something that, you know, you're paying attention to. So these are all things that personally, interaction is the most important part. And that's why I think platforms like Instagram and Twitter, if you look at them, their main basis is based off engagement and interaction more than it is the amount of people following your account. And unfortunately, Twitch has kind of maneuvered away from that because obviously the platform's a little different. It's a live streaming service. But at the end of the day, the people with higher interaction tend to be higher up on the platform. So
just to kind of add to that, like a lot of people think that like, as soon as you get 75 average viewers, you automatically get partner. Twitch actually does look at your chat interaction. So a lot of times you see these people who have like all these viewers, but they still get denied partnership. Because like Twitch is pretty smart. Like he said, you know, there are programs that you can see like your chat activity, and even Twitch itself, like you can see on your dashboard. So like, you know, if you have all these, you know, trying to cheat the system and like, you know, get all these people. Like Twitch knows that, and like Twitch is a business, and they want, you know, they want to make money. You want to make money, and you know, they want to see that you have real people in there that, you know, can potentially like, you know, get bits and sub to you and stuff. So yeah, I mean, kind of adding on to that, like chat interaction is a huge thing.
Sure. Cool. Kat, what are your thoughts on what matters most to you when judging your stream?
It's all about the people that come to my stream for me, like the quality of what they bring to the stream. And I think that's a lot of what everybody's on my Steam. I obnoxiously have my Twitch as my username. So people I play with, if they enjoyed playing with me, they'll pop in and be like, oh, thanks so much for the game. And then sometimes I end up like actually talking to them about the game we just played, and like, because I usually only play Survivor because I'm terrible at the killers. And then they end up following me, and then they keep coming back, and it's just like making those connections. And then I have somebody to play with, because I love playing with my viewers, and that's another thing. Like I have bought games for my viewers if I could afford them, and they were smaller games just so I could, you know, because they were like, oh, that looks interesting, I don't really have the money, and I'm like, oh, here you go, here's a Steam key, like come play with me. And then I'll get them in my Discord, and then they're interacting with me on stream as we're playing together, and that's a huge thing for me, is playing with my viewers as well.
Awesome. I want to go ahead and start opening up Q&A here, since we've got probably about 20 minutes left. So if you guys are here and you want to ask questions, feel free to come up to the mic and get in line. You can ask anything related to if you play a certain game, you're struggling with that. There's a lot of different game experience here, or if you're on a certain platform or whatever it is. I'll also try and take questions from Twitch chat if you guys are watching online. So just tag @TRUgaming in the chat. I should be able to see that there. I have my own questions too. I'll ask in the meantime, but I want to give you guys ample time to ask Q&A if you have your own questions as well. So I will start with, okay, we have one person up for Q&A, it looks like. Sweet. Just make sure you talk close to the mic, because it's kind of hard to hear sometimes. Is it on?
I don't think it's on.
We should turn it on a sec here.
I think they're working on it.
Yeah, we'll pop it on. It should be good.
Gotcha.
Testing now?
Test.
There we go.
Okay, sweet. Thank you guys for doing this panel. So I'm a competitive fighting game player. I've been streaming off and on for about 3 years through PlayStation at first, and then finally getting a rig last year to start streaming. I competitively play Street Fighter, and I'm consistently getting 15, 20 viewers. Like it's one of those things. I play a really bad character, so people like to come in and see me do stupid things and make things work with a really bad character, which I hate myself for doing, but at the same time love. But I do want to do other games. I don't want to do like Apex, Battle Royale. I try to do other things like retro games and things like that, and I seem to never get anyone, even though I try to share to different like Facebook accounts. I try to share on Twitter. I try to share on this stuff. I am a sponsored player through a fighting game team, so I try to get them to share out my stuff. And I seem to never get more than 2 or 3 people. And I just want to know what you guys do to not get stuck in like one game. Because like I love Street Fighter. I love playing my game. But at the same time, I've got 30 other games I got to play. And I haven't spent $60 on these games to just have them collect dust.
Right.
What do you guys do to get yourself not in that rut? And what do you guys do to possibly help yourself not then go back to that go-to game that, it's not being a good stream tonight. I'm going to hop back on Street Fighter or any other game that you guys consistently go to. What do you guys do for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Trying to get out of that one game that you get known for, right? Bill, you want to start this one off?
Yeah, so you want to give your community a heads up, be like, hey, we're going to look into this game and see if it's a streamable game. And also, you as a streamer, you want to make sure that there's enough stuff going on during that to make sure that there's not a lot of downtime. So, like, I tried streaming Red Dead Redemption 2. It's a great, amazing game, but there's so much time where you're just riding on a horse and there's nothing. You know what I mean? So, like, it's not the most streamable game for me. Some people might enjoy it better, like, might be able to stream it better. But you as a streamer, you have to kind of know the games that you're about to be playing. And you also want to give your community that heads up, be like, hey, we're going to be doing this, maybe give them a couple weeks notice and just kind of let them know. That way, like, when they see that, they know exactly when it's going to happen. They're not surprised by it or anything. And give it a shot and just try to introduce, like, maybe start out with Street Fighter first on that stream day that you play the new game, and then just switch over to that later on in the stream. That way you can bring your community into it, so it kind of like forces them to at least try to check it out. You know what I mean? So I think that's what I would do if I were you, to be honest.
Okay.
And you guys have thoughts on that topic?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what Velox said, just kind of like give them a heads up. And if you have like multiple games that you want to play, maybe make like a straw poll and let them vote. Like, hey guys, I have these games I really want to play. Here are your choices. What would you guys like to watch next week or in the next 2 weeks, and kind of let them decide, so you kind of get an idea of like what kind of content they really want to see. And I am like really big into Fallout. That's kind of where I really pushed and got partnership with, is Fallout. So I have a ton of my community that's really into Fallout, and I have a ton that will only show up for Fallout. So it's kind of discouraging, you know, because it's like you want them to like you for you, but some people are just like that, you know. Some people are like, yeah, some people are like, well, you know, you're cool and all, but you're not playing Fallout today, so bye. And it really sucks, like when you have people that will just straight up come in and be like, oh, you're not playing this game today? Okay, well, I'm gonna go watch other streamer who's playing that game that you used to play. And like it hurts, but you know, just kind of keep in mind, like, it's not you, you know, it's just some people have different tastes, you know. And you know, I'm a variety streamer, you know, in my heart, but I was in like this huge like Fallout push. Like, I mean, I played Fallout for like 6 or 7 months straight, like only Fallout. Yeah, and I had like a vault suit and everything, so I was like super into it. And you know, and then I was like, for, you know, all these other games I really want to play, and so I started like switching and playing all these other things, and like I had my numbers drop like half, you know, because I was so dedicated to Fallout for so long. And you know, that really hurts, because you feel like, well, I thought like all these people were my friends, and now they're not here because I'm not playing like what they want to see. So it's really hard not to let that bother you, but just remember, like, everybody has different tastes. Everybody has different opinions. So you have to worry about what you want to do. You know, you have to do what makes you happy. And it kind of goes back to the whole numbers thing. Like, you know, like they've said, you know, Twitch makes you stress about numbers so bad, especially if you have like these higher goals that you're trying to, you know, really push for, like partnership or affiliate or, you know, whatever. So it makes it really difficult to be able to just like relax on that. But in the end, everything works out. So just try not to like stress too much about it. Like, play what you want to play, and if they don't like it, you know, they'll come back when you go back to your main game. But you know, you can't let people, you know, decide what you want to do, because if you're not happy in your stream, that's going to lower your content value, because you're miserable. You know, you're like, oh, I mean, I like this game, but I didn't really, you know, I wasn't in the mood for it today. So your personality's not going to be, you know, again, going back to what we've talked about, you're not going to be as like hyped up. So if a new person comes in, you're not going to be like, hey, you know, how are you doing? What's up? Here's my stream. You're going to be like, oh, you know. So, I mean, it can really affect your mood, and you'll give like a kind of a mediocre first impression, so you're not really gonna like grab somebody's attention as much as you would if you're like truly in the mood to play that game. So, I mean, my advice would be just do what you want, you know, things will come in time.
Awesome.
I mean, pretty much to echo what they said, how many hours do you stream? Usually
I try to do from 7:30 to 10:30 Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then Saturday and Sunday, it depends. I drive Uber as a side job next to my main job, so I kind of do my little extra.
I mean, it's tough with that limited amount of time, but a lot of the time, what I noticed when I first started variety streaming, before I built that kind of a variety community where they want to be there just to be there more than game specific, because like they said, you're always going to get game specific people, is I would almost try to play, maybe do Street Fighter for like 2 hours in the beginning, get that base, and then be like, all right guys, for the last hour we're going to play Red Dead or whatever. And you're going to see a drop. You're absolutely going to see a drop. It's inevitable. But if you can get some of your core group that only show up for Street Fighter to realize, oh wow, you know, it's pretty funny to watch them play Red Dead and ride a horse into a tree, as ridiculous as it is. But, you know, that little bit of variety, that's what you'll get for most of advice. Most of the time, they look for a little bit longer, because, like, you're at your peak at, like, around 4, and then it'll drop off. But as somebody who limited time to stream, I get it. So that swap at the end, even if it's only for an hour, just to kind of get the ball rolling. And then on those longer days, you can either just strictly play that game for longer, like if you do like a bonus day, like, oh, I'm gonna stream Sunday this week, and like let everybody know, but this Sunday we're gonna play Red Dead, and then see how that affects the fluctuation of numbers. It might help, it might not. It's tough to start variety, but this is why, like, I always tell people, if you lock yourself into a game in the very beginning, this is the struggle down the road, is that you end up in this position where it's almost like a rebuild. But even your biggest streamers, I mean, you look at guys like, you know, Summit 1G, or, you know, if Shroud turns around and plays Ark instead of playing, you know, PUBG or whatever, his numbers dip. It just doesn't look as significant because he's still sitting at 15K. But you got to remember, normally he's sitting at 40. So if you go down the grand scale of things, that's like going from 20 to 3. So it's always, everybody takes that hit in variety, and it's why a lot of the bigger people that make a lot of money on this platform stick to what they stick to for so long. But those are also the same people like that walk away and take a month off because they can't even look at the game anymore. They're sick of it. So a lot of it is like mental health and stuff like that. But I would just try to trickle it in towards the end of your stream and see how it works that way. Don't start with it, because I will say you want to try to get that base in and then kind of, hey, this is what we're going to do, rather than they're just seeing you on Red Dead and they're like, nah, I'm not doing it.
I think setting the expectations is really good too. And something I've noticed, one of my favorite streamers, who's a very small streamer, I'm usually like one of the only people in chat, but they're so entertaining. So I'm like, why don't people love you as much as I do? I don't understand. They have scheduled days that they do certain games. So like Monday and Tuesday, they do this game. And then Wednesday and Thursday, they do this game. And it's something I'm thinking about implementing, because I used to do the polls, because there's a few certain games I always usually play. And then just switching it up. That way you'll be like, it's Street Fighter Fridays, woo! And then like maybe Monday is more of a chill day for you, and that's when you do your other games, and you just set those expectations. And then it's just about trusting that the people that matter will be there.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the
thank
question.
Yeah.
I'm going to try and do a little bit faster with the questions going out, maybe like one off each. So I'll pick one of you guys to throw the question to. Or if you guys want to throw a question to a certain panelist, let me know. Again, we have Vel, Amy, Snoop, and Kat here. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Some questions coming in from Twitch chat as well. A quick one for Vel here. This kind of goes back to what you said, actually. You talked about when you're starting out, treat every first viewer like gold.
Right.
So Heed Hum in the chat asked you, how do you stay true to the day ones, but also grow more people beyond that once you get bigger?
That's actually a really good question. So, I mean, every viewer that you have matters. Like, I don't want you guys to take that the wrong way. Like, it's not like, oh, I have 6 viewers now, so, like, these guys don't matter. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I said at all. Like, I don't want you guys to take it the wrong way. Every viewer matters, and you are growing a family. Those people are there to support you, and they don't have to be. So, it's just, like, you're not going to be able to show one person quite as much love as you did when they were the only person there, obviously. But the attention that you can give them, try to be genuine, try to be real, and try to, give it your best. You know what I mean? Like, those people, like I said, they don't have to be there. It's a totally free platform, and you're just trying to entertain and hang out with people. That's all you can do, and you just got to do it to the best of your ability and be as genuine as possible. Don't be a fake person and try to say that everything is awesome, because people will read when you're fake and then they'll just leave. So try to be honest, be yourself, and just have fun hanging out with people, because that's essentially what Twitch is all about. Like, aside from video games and everything, like, it's about hanging out with people and making awesome friends.
Awesome stuff. Do you have any other questions for the crowd? I want to make sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Juan, hello. Sorry, got here late. My question is about, would you guys say there is a possible golden ratio to the length of the stream versus how many days a week you stream? Because I'm actually on the creative side of Twitch, but there are parallels as far as like viewers and all that stuff, and just having that personality. So I'm here trying to look for those parallels. But would you say there's any type of golden ratio? Internet says there is. I've tested them out. Not so much. So I'd like to get you guys' opinion on that, whoever would be best.
Three want to maybe jump on this one?
It just all kind of depends on like what you're comfortable with. Like me personally, like when I first started out streaming, I thought, I gotta stream every day. I gotta stream every free moment that I have, and you get burnt out really easy on that. And me personally, I stream 4 days a week, 6 hours each day. I have found that when you make your content more exclusive, like when you stream certain days, people will work a little harder to be there versus, if you stream every single day, people are like, they're live every day, so
yeah,
I'll catch them on whatever, I don't have to be there every single day. But I mean, it all just depends on like what you're comfortable with. Like some people like to stream every day. I used to do it, hated it, because like you're so glued to it. Like you feel like you can't do anything because you're just always, glued to your computer or whatever, and you just don't have free time. But I find that like a nice like days off and don't stream like all day helps with getting a little bit more viewers versus if you're available all the time, people are just going to pop in and out like whenever they want to.
Okay.
Awesome. I quickly want to say I did a quick study looked at the 1,000 most recent partnered channels on Twitch, and on average they stream for 20 hours a week. So that's kind of a useful metric that's on data, not just like,
Okay.
I think you should do 5 hours. This is actual channels getting partnered on average stream 20 hours a week. So that might be helpful for you as well.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much.
And shout out to Heat Hom. He's part of the Twitch
Yeah.
rally.
Yep,
Beat up Drew Bay.
Yeah, Heat Hom was supposed to be on the panel today, had an emergency come up, but shout out to Heat Hom. Miss you, man. I saw a question as well from Just Pandy. I'll shoot this one to Snoop, actually, which is kind of perfect. So Pandy is a variety streamer and is wondering, is it viable to kind of alternate games as a variety caster with 2 different types of games? Is that kind of sustainable, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, so I do a lot of FPS stuff, and that was kind of always widely known, but that's just because what I enjoy doing. But I'll go from FPS, and then I've played like What Remains of Edith Finch, which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum. I think once you've built that kind of variety community, and if you do that and implement that early enough, I think it's completely viable. I don't think it's an issue at all. Plus, most people, not all, have a genre they kind of gravitate towards, but it doesn't mean you can't play other stuff. I mean, like, I love Kingdom Hearts, but I also love to run around in Apex and shoot fake people. So it all depends on the day, pretty much. It's just, I think it's a viable option. I think the earlier you start doing it and the more, like you said, the more upfront you are about it with everybody, the better off you're going to be. Because, like you see, it's harder once you set yourself up in a brand to kind of pull back after, if I only do Apex for 7 months and then the next day I turn on Kingdom Hearts, people are going to be like, what are you doing? So it's always, like you said, the expectation, but a lot of it is the earlier you're in on it, the better off you're going to be, because it grows with you, and it's what you're known to jump varieties constantly. You're known to go from horror to shooter to story game all in the same week.
Awesome. Next question is from malicious advice, also from chat. Let's go to Kat. So how do you deal with balancing really generous viewers who maybe are donating a lot and not giving them too much value, if that makes sense? Like, say you have someone come in who drops a massive donation, right? It's very easy to try and maybe suck up to that person a little bit if they're being that nice to you. How do you balance that with people who just can't afford to donate, but they're still valuable as viewers?
So admittedly, every time I get any kind of donation or sub or follow, I literally cry a little. I'm not even joking. I'm so grateful for any kind of support, that everything matters to me. I have a friend who every now and then, like, she just gives me like 5 bits. She's just like, here you go. And I'm just like, thank you so much. Oh my God. And then I've had people come in and spam me with bits, and I'm still like, oh, what is happening? I think, some people don't have a lot of money, and that's just something you have to realize. And not everyone can donate all this money, but you should still value what they do give you, because they're still wanting to do something for you to show their support. And they're just as valuable as anyone else that gives you like a whole bunch of bits. So, but yeah, if I get any kind of emotion, I tear up and cry a little. So I'll have to like sit there on stream and I'm like, I just need a second. Thank you so much for your support. Because like I said, every viewer, every person that talks in my chat, every person that gives me bits, every subscriber, follower means so much to me, because they're taking time out of their day to spend it with me. Like, that's amazing. And I appreciate it so much.
Okay. Gotcha. Cool. So we're getting to the end of the panel. So I'm going to do some sign-offs to you guys. I'm going to ask each of you to kind of plug anything you want to plug, and then also give one quick piece of advice, like overall best piece of advice starting streaming. What would you say? So Vel, start with you.
All right, that's loaded. Okay, so I am Velok_TV. That's VELOKK_TV. Play a lot of different games on Twitch, mostly coffee streams, 8 a.m. EST. Biggest tip, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Biggest piece of advice. Be willing to grind it out if you're trying to stream on Twitch, because every day isn't always awesome. And so if you can enjoy the days that suck, you'll be doing just fine, because those are the days where if you start to realize that you're not enjoying it as much, you're gonna burn yourself out. So just be willing to grind it out and enjoy the days that aren't really enjoyable. Try to have fun with it.
There you go. Amy.
I'm mshoboslayer. Pretty much any social media, I probably have it. So, yeah, it's just mshoboslayer on everything. And advice, just don't overthink it. Don't sweat it. You know, kind of like Velox said, just be patient. It can take years to get anywhere. Don't compare yourself to people too much, because it's so easy to think like, oh, well, I've been streaming for a year and this other person's been streaming a year and they play the same game that I do, but they're like way ahead of me and I'm only here. You know, everybody, even if you stream the same game, you know, you're going to talk different, you're going to look different, you're going to play the game different. So, you know, everybody's going to have your, you know, your pros and cons. There's going to be things that people like about you, and there's going to be things that people hate about you. Don't let it get to you too bad. Just kind of go with it. You know, just kind of take it for what it is, and you know, just don't sweat it too bad, because we're all people, and you know, if somebody tries to, you know, say something negative about you, there's something negative about them. So don't let the bad stuff get to you too bad, and just enjoy it. Enjoy the journey. Don't worry about like the big goals too much. Just enjoy the journey there.
Awesome. Snoop, what do you want to plug? What do you want to say?
I am SnoopHogTV on all the things, mixer.com/SnoopHogTV, because I'm the guy on Mixer. But honestly, the best piece of advice is just value people's time. Remember, like, it kind of piggybacks off the question that Kat got, but you know, people that give large donations are awesome, and it's appreciated more than words can ever express all the time. But people that spend their time with you, it's the most valuable currency that they have, and it's a currency you cannot get more of. So they're taking the time that they could be spending doing literally anything else, and they're taking the time to come spend it in your stream. So just value time and realize, like, there's the days where it's really easy to look at your numbers and, like, let's say you had a good week and you were at 15 average viewers, and then all of a sudden the next week you're at 4. It's really easy to look at that number and get very discouraged, but remember that that is 4 people that could literally be spending time doing anything else, time that they cannot get back, and they're choosing to spend that time with you. So when it gets hard to look at those numbers, just remember at the end of the day, that's 4 people that could have went and watched either another stream, or could have went and got lunch, or could have went back to bed, and they woke up or stayed up to watch you stream and act like a complete fool, or at least me, most of the time. So just value time.
Love that. And Kat, last but not least, what do you want to say? What do you want to plug?
Yeah, I'm gonna plug myself, xCatScratchx, on Twitch, and then in my little About Me section are all the little links to if you want to stalk me. Stalkers are appreciated. And then I want to plug the Twitch Raleigh community meetup. I'm a part of that. If you are local and you're looking to network with more streamers and stuff like that, we have regular meetups. The booth is over that way, right across from where all the tournament stuff is. Everyone's really cool. There's a Discord. It's been really beneficial because you meet so many different kinds of streamers, and then you can learn and then like go look at their streams and learn what you can improve on, and then they do the same with you, which is really nice. And my biggest word of advice is probably stream for yourself and not for the viewers, because, you know, my friend told me to start streaming because I was hilarious. And then it's just something I enjoy now, whether I have like 5 viewers one day or like 30 viewers the next day. Like, it's always just something I enjoy doing for myself because it's fun, and it's helped with my social anxiety, having, you know, that kind of platform to work with. So just do it for yourself.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be doing actually an episode on social anxiety pretty soon, because that's a really discussed topic lately. So stay tuned for that online, guys. But yeah, this has been the Stream 101 panel, guys. If you have any other questions about streaming that you couldn't ask, or you want to talk with someone one-on-one, please come to our booth at True Streaming. We have coaches there if you're brand new or if you're more experienced and kind of stuck in a plateau. These guys can help you out and help you get through your stream. So thanks for watching. We're going to take like a 15 half-hour break here and then do another panel streaming local spotlight, actually, with also Twitch Raleigh. So stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, guys.
Thank you.